The third attack in the player's arsenal is the Stink Bomb attack, or just Stink attack for short. This attack is called a lobbed attack. A lobbed attack is different from the lightning attack or frost attack in that it has a projectile that is going to send out over time in an arc fashion, and when it hits the ground, it's going to explode in an area of effect, or AoE. You'll recall the lightning attack was point to point, meaning there was no projectile, the bolt was instantaneous. The frost attack also had no projectile, it instead just affected an area in front of the player. The Stink attack, however, is going to utilize a projectile to send the Stink hit explosion to a target location. An important difference about projectile attacks is that they can be blocked mid-flight. With a lightning bolt, whatever you click on is the thing hit. But with a projectile attack, if an enemy moves into the way of another enemy, then that projectile will not hit the intended target. Another difference about the Stink attack is that it's going to utilize a targeting reticule. This reticule is going to appear on the ground and let us know when our attack is ready, where our attack should hit, and whether or not our attack is within range. The effect of the Stink attack can also be thought of as a debuff. It doesn't stick to the enemy like the frost attack does. However, any enemies caught in the radius of the Stink explosion will run directly away from the player for a set period of time. This will be useful as it will allow the player to separate enemies or create ways for the player to escape from bad situations. To build the Stink attack, we're going to need to create the Stink attack emitter, which will appear at the end of the player's antenna. This attack will emit some sickly brown particles, reminding the player of which attack they currently have equipped. We're also going to have a targeting ring, and that targeting ring will actually be a particle system that's used to tell the player where the attack is going to land. This attack is special in that it's also going to require a Stink projectile. That projectile will seem to not emit any particles. However, the particle emission of this projectile is based on its motion. Finally, this attack requires a Stink hit. The Stink hit is going to be responsible for showing the effect of the explosion and also telling all of the enemies when it's time for them to run away. All of these parts will work together to create an attack that's very useful for scattering enemies, though it's not necessarily one you'd want to use at parties.